Got out a torrid shirt. Check. Expert Legos. Check. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Sam. I don't know if anyone else has been having a rough go of it, but I have been having a rough go lately. I actually sent my coworker a meme that was like, in case you're wondering how my week is going, I went to get a nighttime shirt out of the dryer, spent 15 minutes trying to put a pillowcase on, realized it didn't have a head hole, and said, what are these, pants? That is how my life has been functioning for like the last 2 or 3 weeks. I've mentioned it briefly. It's event season at my job. Lots of crazy things are happening. I have 2 colleagues that are out right now. So things are just a little bit hectic. I also have 2 vacations planned in short back-to-back weekends. So I'm a little bit stressed about filming schedule and making sure that I'm still pumping out content because I'll be honest, this is a really fun hobby and I'm glad I picked it up. So I don't want to let it fall off just because my schedule has gotten crazy busy. So if you haven't figured it out from my pre-intro, we're going to be talking about Amberlynn Reid today because Amber recently had a stumble and fall scenario. And while some funny memes have come out of it, right, we've seen people create like a crime scene photo. One channel made like a movie trailer out of the dramatics of it all. I want to kind of draw it back, talk a little bit about her behavior and the things that she has been talking about since the fall, and sort of tie it to why the talking points are a little off, and also my own fear of falling, and the reason that I decided that I needed to start changing my life. She has 4 videos total talking about this injury, and what I want to do is sort of piece together some clips from these videos where she talks about the injury initially in her first video, and then show how she continues on and divulges a little bit more of what happened as she engages in a back and forth sort of argument with her audience. Because it gets interesting and it led me to a few of my talking points. So first, let's talk about the initial injury. Now, in her videos, we will see her acknowledge that her weight is making the recovery period harder.
And they could not find anything broken, so that's a good thing because, you know, broken bones can be very, very like hard to heal. But I have multiple torn ligaments, and that's scary for someone my size. They were gonna give me crutches, too big to use them. They were gonna give me this big black boot that I was gonna have to wear, and that didn't even fit because of my lymphedema. And it's just like, the pain just kept getting worse and worse. I was at the emergency room for a few hours, and by the time it was time for me to leave, like, I could not walk on it. And as someone who's, you know, in the 400s, it's terrifying because it's like anything that I could have used to help myself, like crutches, or they suggested that I have fuzz on me, sorry, I'm just a mess right now. They suggested that I use this like scooter thing where you put your knee up so you don't have to walk on the foot that you fucked up, but nope. Too big for that too.
She tells us she was too heavy for crutches. She was too heavy for the scooter where you put your knee on it so that you're not having to walk on the ankle that you've injured. And that also the lymphedema that she has on her leg meant that she could not wear a boot, which would secure your foot and your ankle sort of in place to heal it. Now, even though she makes those acknowledgements related to her weight and explains that her weight is affecting her healing, she refuses to see that her weight exacerbated this injury.
People tear their ligaments all the time. This isn't because I'm fat, this isn't or anything like that. I simply am a person who wasn't paying attention while walking. I just do not believe that my weight plays a role in the actual injury. I was vlogging, I was walking, and I stepped off of the curb. Literally it. That is one of the most common ways Google it, do research, talk to your doctor, do anything you need to, but that is one of the most common ways that people tear ligaments in their ankle is stepping off of curbs.
My initial thought was, were your tennis shoes what caused you to stumble? Now we know, we've seen it on TV shows, if you are friends with overweight people, if you have them in your family, that often your feet are swollen. If they have lymphedema in their legs, the way that Amberlynn does, it kind of pulls the top of the shoe apart and it can't be tied appropriately, making it loose on your foot. She actually went ahead in one of her videos and admitted that due to her weight loss, her shoes are actually a half a size too big, in addition to the screenshot she took showing that the shoe also wasn't tied correctly.
I was actually wearing tennis shoes, and my tennis shoes make me, I want to say about an inch and a half taller than I am, because it's like a memory foam. And I'm personally not used to wearing tennis shoes. You guys know that I'm a flats type of gal. And I was wearing tennis shoes because, hi, wear tennis shoes if you're exercising. So I think the mixture of that and like the shoes are about like a half size too big for me, because as I've lost weight, my feet have shrunk.
Carrying more weight also causes you to walk on the outsides of your feet. So on your outside edges, which if you stumble off the sidewalk and you're already walking like this, you're gonna roll more naturally. So again, weight causing you to roll more naturally instead of just stepping on a crack between the sidewalk and the grass. So anyway, those were my natural common sense sort of experiential thoughts. And then I found this research. Now, contrary to what Amberlynn believes when she says that fat people are not more likely to fall than thin people, they actually do. Obese individuals are 37% more likely to fall, and that has to do with stumbling caused by little steps and your gait being thrown off. So I was right on the money based on my own experience. When people are massively overweight, they don't really lift their feet up that much. It's been a consistent freaking issue for me of dragging my feet. My husband actually yells at me about it all the time. I pick up my feet much less. And again, because of your weight distribution, your balance is thrown off. This study, having proved that, disproves what Amberlynn was saying. So you are 37% more likely to fall, Miss Amberlynn. And what I found most interesting near the end of the study was them talking about how the fear of falling or an injury related to falling actually exacerbates weight problems. Because what happens is people get afraid to fall, so then they stop exercising and they stop doing physical activity because they don't want to get injured. Now, Amber admitted that she has avoidant behaviors, and she did so by saying that it's related to her mental health. She's feeling very disconnected, and on that front, I feel for her. I'm not here to talk about anybody's mental health issues, but what she did say that I noted as avoidant behavior was this.
I normally 9 times out of 10 am walking in the dark when I do my exercising. It's not as popping out there because I do live somewhere where there's like a lot of people.
She avoids physical activity. She avoids going outside during the daytime, leaving her to walk at night. Now, she claims to be a night owl, but it's clearly avoidant behavior. You don't want to see people. You don't want people to see you. She has said in the past that she views herself as a monster. She doesn't like it when people stare at her. And so I know that's why she's going outside, but it's exactly what this study is saying. She's avoiding physical activity because she doesn't want people to see her doing physical activity. She's maybe afraid to fall in front of other people or stumble in front of other people. And again, I feel for her. When I started walking, yes, it fit my schedule, but I started exercising at 5 a.m. because nobody's out at 5 a.m. So I knew that I was on my own. I didn't have to worry about many people seeing me. And I stumbled on the sidewalk a few times because our sidewalks are shite in Illinois. But you get the gist. She sort of fits this category of avoiding physical activity for fear of injury stemming from physical activity. So her video and her stumble and fall, for what it's worth, almost had weird timing for me. Alan Roberts recently put out a video on his channel where he was talking about the reasons people lost weight. What was your sort of like, oh shoot moment, I need to lose weight? And I've already said I never had a rock bottom. It's just not a thing that happened to me, weirdly enough. But I had a moment when I was commuting where it was wet. I was wearing tennis shoes, but I was walking on the wet train platform. I stepped into the train, and the one that I was on, when you came in through the train doors, it's a flat floor, but to get into the train car itself, it had a little bitty ramp. So I went to walk down the ramp and my shoes slid. And I remember my immediate reaction was, oh my God, catch yourself. Because if you do not, if you fall, if your tailbone hits this floor right now with this backpack that had my lunch in it and all of my other things, so it was kind of heavy, like, who is going to get you off the floor? I was 380 pounds at that point in my life, and I knew if I hit the floor, A, it would be embarrassing because everybody would see me. B, I wouldn't have been able to get up by myself with that giant backpack on my back as well as my own body weight. And if they had to call someone, I'm now delaying a train. It's going to take 3 or 4 people to help me get off the frickin' ground. And I was like, if my tailbone hits this hard ass floor, like, is that it? Do I break my tailbone? Like, what does that mean to me? And it was in that moment that I realized I had to do something. I had to take some small steps to start getting myself help, to start breaking my binge eating disorder. Like, how could a stumble and fall, a slip and fall on a wet train derail my whole life? No pun intended on the derailed part in the train. Anyway, I knew that I couldn't let it derail my whole life. And I knew that my weight was a choice because I was binge eating. And I've spoken about it before. Binge eating is a super weird thing because consciously you know that it's wrong and you know that you shouldn't be doing it, but subconsciously your brain is in like fight or flight mode. Like, if I don't eat this food right now, I'm going to die. And the fight between my subconscious and my conscious was enough for me to realize that I needed therapy to fix it. So I didn't jump right into weight loss. I didn't follow any advice, even though I had found the fitness community before that on YouTube. I had all their advice for when I was ready to use it. But it was that moment, that oh shit moment of if my ass had hit the ground on this train, what would happen to me? And I couldn't live with that. For all the other embarrassing things, for not fitting in a restaurant booth, for not being able to run, for not even being able to walk without getting winded, none of that really bothered me at first. It was uncomfortable, but I had food to soothe that. It was the moment that I realized that if I fell, I was going to be putting other people out, slowing down other people's day, potentially hurting other people who then had to lift me, that I realized I needed to sort of change my life. I'm curious if any of you out there you love sharing with me have ever thought about that. If you ever had a fall, if you ever had a thing where you were like, shit, if that had happened, like, what, it would have changed the trajectory of my life. If any of that's ever happened to you, I'd love if you shared it with me in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Bye.